Good morning. Today I'm off on another nature hike here at Malanaphy Springs in beautiful northeast Iowa in Winnesheet County. Malanaphy Springs is gorgeous. It's got a nice waterfall, drops into the upper Iowa River, and there's a nice scenic trail to hike out to the waterfall, to the actual springs. And then usually I'm going to see fall colors, maybe some fungus, who knows. I'm out here today though, probably shoot some pictures, shoot some video, and put something nice together. Join me on my hike. This is the trail to Malanaphy Springs. You can see it's well established. Lots of people enjoy this area. It's meant only for hiking, not for biking, just for hiking. I'm doing this video a little bit different than normal since my usual equipment is tied up on another shoot today. We're going to see how well this works. I'm guessing it might not be quite as stable as the other system, but hopefully it'll work. You can see that this trail's not a smooth walk in the park. There's rocks, there's trees, but that's what makes it special. Last time I was out here, we found some strange fungus that looked like a clear mold, and I'm hoping to find some of that today. I'm only a day off of when we saw it last year, so maybe I'll find it. I haven't found that clear, slimy mold type fungus yet, but I did find this one. And then down here, you can see that there's another fungus and a small white flower. So there are things to see today. Here we've got one of the fern species, and I'm not sure which one it is. I suspect it's something to do with bridal veil, something like that, but I'm going to have to look it up. I just don't know for sure. I found these colorful red berries that I believe might be associated with one of the Solomon seal plants. I'll have to look it up to know for sure. Fall is a good time of year to get out and look around for mushrooms. In the spring we have morels, but in the fall there's so many other ones that are blooming or have emerged. Some are edible, most are not, but it's still fun to see them. When I'm out for a hike, I don't get too far too fast because I stop and look around. I'm going to show you something here. I think most people probably would have just walked right by this clump of ferns along the trail. But if you take a look, you see that maple leaf. I'm going to just focus on this camera. If you see that maple leaf there, by isolating the maple leaf against the fern background, it makes for a pleasing image. I've been out here walking now for, well, probably more than an hour, and I'm not even to the waterfall yet. But that's okay. I'm seeing a lot of things. I have a buddy that gives me a whole bunch of grief that when I'm out in nature, I'm either stopping for snail migrations or turtles, or I can't remember what slow creatures he gives me grief about. But that's okay. I enjoy seeing what I see when I'm out. And yep, it takes some time, but it's worth it. I think the state preserves in Iowa are one of the probably under-recognized resources that the citizens of Iowa have. State preserves are different than state parks in that there's minimal development, minimal maintenance. Oftentimes, there may not even be a designated trail. You follow wild game trails, such as the state preserve called Brush Creek Canyon over by Arlington. That's different than Brushy Creek State Park. I'm talking Brush Creek Canyon by Arlington. This one here, because of the waterfall, gets a lot of use, a lot of people hiking on it, so there's a well-established trail. But not all of the state preserves even have really developed trails, which makes it kind of unique in that you can get out and explore. Generally, they're not too big. You can get lost in them. They're big enough or rugged enough that you can get lost, but they're really a pretty pretty area in the state that I don't think a lot of people take the time to explore or are even aware of. So if you get a chance, go out and check out a state preserve somewhere in Iowa. I'm getting closer now to the Malanaphy Springs, to the waterfall. You can tell I'm going downhill, going down not too far from river level. The springs itself fall quite a ways, coming out of the hillside and then go down the rocks, down their own little stream where they actually do the waterfall. That, assuming everything is like it used to be, I'll be able to get close to and show you. Assuming, you might have heard that, assuming that I don't get hit in the head with a walnut dropping from the sky. But I'm getting close here. As I approach, I can hear the running water. So I will stay quiet here as I approach so you too can see it, hear it. Got a little bit of trail navigation here yet. This is a stop for paddlers on the river too. They like to stop here and get out, and sometimes if you want to really cool off quick, just get underneath the waterfall. It's quite a deep hole underneath where it dumps. I think there's been tragedy at that site too, or somewhere nearby here. Okay, we're coming up on it. That's just part of it. I'm easily distracted. Take a look here. More mushrooms. I just remembered you're not supposed to harvest anything at state preserves, so that's why they're still here. People are respecting the signs. Okay, you can see the spring there, the waterfall. I'm gonna pause this camera, this recording, so I can get a little bit closer for you. This is Malanaphy Springs, where it comes out of the rocks and hillside. Goes down, down, down. And then where you see the end of the springs, there's a waterfall down there where it eventually dumps into the upper Iowa River. This is the upper part of Malanaphy Springs. As you can see, it's a very steep climb. There is an unofficial pole rope you can use to get to the top. I used it just to get this far. As you can see, it's a steep climb to the top. Slowly but surely, I'm working my way down Malanaphy Springs, from the spring itself down to where the waterfall dumps into the river. It takes time because there's so many pretty things to see and photograph. Let's use this setting to explore a little bit about how to create the cotton candy effect with moving water. In this example, I am focusing on the maple seed that's on the top of that wet rock, moss on either side, moving water on either side of that. As it's set up right now, I have my camera set for an ISO of 1000, aperture of 5.3, and a shutter speed of 1/125th. Everything is on a tripod, so it's solid. And I'm using the self timer, and I've got my viewfinder window closed, so there's no light changing things. And you will see that at this setting, I should have recorded the water fairly sharp. And you can see that that water is fairly sharp. Now I'm going to go in and I'm going to change my ISO to 100. Haven't changed anything else. I'll take that picture and you'll see that it starts to freeze the water some. Or captures blur, I guess. Now you can see that the blur in the water. Now let's change this to F11. Nothing else is changing. This will be a third of a second, and we should see quite a bit more blur in the water. And yes, we are. Now, just for kicks and giggles, let's go all the way, close it down. F36, this will be a 3-second exposure. We should see a lot of blurred water, cotton candy effect. Sometimes that can be too much. I'll let you decide. I sometimes like it. But that's how I do when I'm recording moving water, when I'm trying to make that effect. That's how I do it. I am getting closer to where the water from Malanaphy Springs actually dumps into the upper Iowa. I'm going to have to get across and go over to the other side so you can see it from the lower level. This is one beautiful part of the Malanaphy Springs waterfall drop, where the water eventually works its way down to the upper Iowa River. Very, very scenic. The light is really starting to change now as the sun climbs higher in the sky. Hopefully I got a few images that are worthy of sharing today. Hopefully I got a couple of videos that are worthy of sharing, and I can put them all together. So for now, I'm just gonna hike back. You go back on the same trail that you walked out on. So maybe by seeing things from the opposite direction, I'll find more to take pictures of. We shall see. Even though I've already walked this trail once today, just looking at it from the opposite direction, it's still so pretty. I really like Malanaphy Springs, and I don't come up here often enough. I need to change that. For those wondering, I never did make it down on the opposite side of the big waterfall. It's just not worth falling and getting hurt. And I don't know who would even know where I'm at. Christy has a general idea where I'm at today, but it'd take a while before anybody noticed I was missing. And then to figure out where I actually went down and provide aid if they could, this doesn't sound like a good idea. So I did not take a chance on that other side. It's just too steep, too wet. I can see that from the water sometime when I canoe this. I'm trying something different with this video, at least with portions of this video. I shot some of it with my Nikon, but a lot of this I have, for video, I have recorded with my cell phone. First time I've tried that. I normally use a GoPro, but my GoPro is being worked today on a different photo shoot. So I had nothing left to do but use my cell phone. We'll see how this works. I'm really curious about the video quality and the audio quality. What I can hear in the field, it sounds pretty good, but I don't know. I need to see and hear it on the computer. We'll see. As the sun comes up, the whole appearance of the Malanaphy Springs Trail changes. Shadows are pronounced. Some colors are more subdued, some are more vivid, some are just burned out. That's the reason that I like to get out early. Often it means, like today, leaving well before dark, so that I can get here when the light is just so soft and coming over the horizon. That said, I think I could probably make pictures now too. I just prefer it earlier. Another outing has come to an end. For me, it was pretty good. Even though the colors weren't quite what I expected, it was still good. What surprised me is the way that the leaves are already starting to fall. I imagine our killing frost that we had last week pretty much sealed the deal on most of these leaves. Do not just click away right away. Stick around to the end of the video. I'll include some still photos and maybe even some video clips, assuming that they all worked out well. For those who did stick with me this long, I'm glad you went along with me to Malanaphy Springs. If you're a photographer, hopefully you learned something on at least how I shoot the moving water pictures. And I do thank you for watching.